Okay, we got Bright Insurance in the house. What do you guys got going on today?
Well, I have a question.
We have an answer.
So there's 4 of us in this room. How many of you have your auto ID card in your vehicle right now? A current one?
I don't.
Sonia, did you give me one?
No, but I gave him one.
Matt's raising his hand.
Matt does, Sonia does. Sonia gave Rick one, but I can guarantee you it didn't make it to his vehicle.
Am I supposed to put it in my vehicle?
I always do this with my wife too. I have
Yeah.
to give her hers.
Yeah.
Or I don't even give it to her. I just put it in there for
I
her.
mean, I'll make this quick, but I gave Rick an auto ID card every 6 months
man.
for like 20 years, you know, and then we get pulled over and I open his glove compartment and the one when we bought the vehicle was the only one that was in there. I was like, I gave you like 40 different ones for every renewal and not one of them made it in there. But
What is
anyway,
wrong with you?
what about you, Brad? Do you have one in your...
No.
Shut us off.
We're gonna turn these microphones off. And okay.
But we're going to talk about something a little more serious today. It's one thing to drive without your auto ID card in your vehicle.
Cops know
Because
we
in
got
most
insurance.
cases, not all cases, they can pull it up. But what's
They do.
worse, what we're really talking about today is the cost of and the consequences of driving without insurance.
Driving without insurance is a dumb thing.
Yes, and you will get your car towed.
Yes.
Oh, that is so true.
Yep.
So it's illegal to drive without insurance.
It's illegal.
And we're not going to talk about uninsured motorist coverage today, but a lot of people will ask us, why do I need that whenever it's a law that people carry insurance? Well, it is a law, but there's a lot of people that drive around without it.
And why is it? It seems like every time you get hit, it's always somebody who doesn't have insurance.
Yeah.
Yep.
The last couple of claims I've had on myself were due to uninsured motorists.
Yeah.
So it's definitely prevalent out there.
Well, and I think it's even more now because we have so many more people in Texas, and there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
are driving that does not have it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. So, one thing that can happen, of course, is you can be fined, you know,
Get a ticket.
get a ticket, yeah. According to, as Rick would say, the Google, the first offense, $175 to $350. Repeat offenses, up to over $1,000. There could be more state surcharges, fees.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If I get a ticket for no insurance, do I have to get another job to pay for it?
You're never going to get a ticket for no insurance because we will always have
I'm just
insurance.
saying, do I got to get another job to pay for it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
But that won't,
Alright.
okay.
Keep on going.
That won't happen. We will never not have insurance.
Okay.
Another thing that can happen, and Brad has a story about this, is they can tow your vehicle.
They definitely can tow your vehicle, and they will.
So Brad was pulled over. Obviously, he had insurance. But tell what happened.
So basically, I wasn't the one driving. We got pulled over for speeding. My vehicle does not work TDI in the Texas Department of Transportation. My insurance does not connect, so it does not show up on their system. So when we were going through the process, they were adamant about towing my vehicle. They even called the tow truck. Until they finally figured out, they're like, oh, you and Brian Insurance. I was like, yeah. And then it clicked, and they were like, yeah, never mind, you go on a.
Yeah, they finally believed him, but I was like, man, that would have been not funny.
But how many times have I
hilarious.
called you just to
I
say,
know.
like,
Could
can
you
email
text me my
Yeah.
auto ID card? Yeah, because Brad's, like Rick said, they can pull it up. Well, in some cases they can't, and Brad's they can't.
And I
because-
know with a lot of our clients when we did the consultants.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, that was such a nightmare. Like one guy wanted me to write our government and be like, fix this issue.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not us, I promise
Yeah,
you.
because they
Like
can
the government.
essentially they can usually pull it up if it's on a personal policy, but if it's on a commercial policy, a lot of
It's
times
hit or
they
miss.
can't. It's hit or miss. So, and then you can either have your driver's license suspended, you could lose it altogether.
Because you get those points, but I'll just butt it in here for 1 second.
Sure.
But as a police officer, every time I stopped anybody and they didn't have insurance, the vehicle was towed because I felt responsible. If I let them drive off,
Exactly.
you know, and then they go and hit you, then whose fault is it? It's kind of mine.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I just towed the vehicle.
I remember there was one time that I got in an accident and the other party did not have insurance and worked out in my favor because I was completely at fault. And I was like, hey, let's get the cops up here. We'll get this accident report. And he looked at it and he goes, there's no damage. I'm like, dude, your car looks like I opened it with a can opener. It was like one side to the other. It was completely destroyed. And they're like, no, it looks fine. They got their little beat car and just drove off. I was like, oh my goodness.
So those are some of the repercussions. The worst thing, in my opinion, though, that can happen if someone is driving without insurance is what Matt talked about. They hit somebody. They cause an accident. They cause property damage or worse, bodily injury to other people. What are those people supposed to do? You know, they're minding their own business, driving along, you know, and the next thing you know, they're been injured in a terrible accident and are facing hospital stays and all this stuff, all this money that you're responsible for. Just because you don't have insurance doesn't mean that you're not responsible for their injury, for their property
it's
damage.
not the law to have insurance. The law is to have financial responsibility to operate a motor vehicle on the road. So there's different ways of getting that financial responsibility. Most of the time it's your assets.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you don't have the insurance, they're going to come after you personally.
And I've heard people say, well, you know, you can't get blood out of a turnip. Well, a judgment lasts forever. So anything that you've made so far and anything you're going to make in the future, you could lose because of this. And rightly so, because you caused injury to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I want to say is the state requires a certain limit of liability to operate. If you cause an accident and that is not enough, you are still responsible.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to play lawyer today, but just because, you know, the state says you have to carry $30,000 worth of insurance, which is insane, and you cause $130,000 worth of damage, you're still responsible for that.
I like to look at it as like, when you're driving down the road, what's the average cost of these vehicles
Yeah.
that you see passing you?
Yeah,
And that is what you got to pay for.
yeah.
And I know like...
And that's even if nobody gets hurt.
Yeah,
That's just to fix the
pure
vehicle.
property damage.
Yeah. What were we talking the other day? The average new vehicle
About
cost?
$75,000 now.
Yeah.
So that's where
Well,
I
this
would
went over
need-
the 50,000 mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So,
there's like states like Louisiana that have their property damage down to 15,000
Yeah.
minimum. I was like,
Well, have you seen the vehicles there?
well.
No, I'm just kidding.
But, I mean, yes, it is better to carry the minimum than not at all. Don't get me wrong. It is better because at least you're legal. You're driving legally in the state, and that's good. But just think about, you know, what could happen, and it's called an accident because it's not on purpose. Maybe the sun gets in your eyes, you know, you look away. It's just, I mean, it happens. We've all been there. You know, but you want to make sure that you can financially take care of your responsibilities if you do cause an accident. So
Well, that's the thing, is that there's a reason why it's a law to carry liability insurance.
yes.
And even if you have liability insurance, you gotta think about this. I mean, you gotta have the right kind of limits.
Yeah, you really do. And so that's our message today is don't drive uninsured. And also, you know, if you don't know what your limits are, you don't know how all this works, talk to your agent, make sure you understand, because you very easily could cause a lot more damage than you have coverage for, and you're still going to be on the hook for it.
100%.
And it'll also make you feel more comfortable. If like if you understand what you have and you're driving around, you feel more confident.
Right.
Because if you have nothing or extremely low limits and you have an accident, what are you going to do? You're looking at like that $100,000 car you just smashed into, and you're like, great, this is going to cost me.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, you know, not recently, about 2 years ago, somebody that we know had a really bad accident. It wasn't even their fault, but there were like 6 vehicles involved, and it was a crazy story. And I went and increased my limits that same day because
Who
I'm
gets
like,
paid third?
yeah, because I'm like, oh, I don't even want to have to think about
And when
this.
we're going through that claim, looking at all the, you know, it's like who gets paid first and second
Yeah.
and third, and then you like by the time you get to the 4th car, it's like
It's a lot of money.
Right. So yeah. So we're not trying to scare you. We just want you to think about it, and please do not drive without insurance.
Right.
Please don't do that.
Okay,
It's
how
not
folks
worth
get
it.
a hold of you guys?
oh, they can come visit us at the 2nd floor of Sierra Bank Building here in Graham, or visit us or call us at 940-549-2525.
If you're in Hudson Oaks, we're at 2950 Fort Worth Highway, Suite 500. That number is 817-770-0096, or just call the Graham office and we can transfer you.
Or visit us online, brianines.com. Brian with a Y.
Brian with a Y.
I was wondering if you were going to say that.
Alrighty, folks, we got